the HSE estimating that the cost of the bonus, I suppose, that healthcare workers are looking for. They're looking for an additional 10 days annual leave for their heroic role, let's call it as it is, their heroic role in fighting the pandemic over the last 19 months. Understandably, they're looking for a reward, but the concern in government is, Ciara, the cost of it. 377 million would be the cost of giving healthcare workers, frontline healthcare workers, those 10 annual days leave. What do you think?
I actually think in this instance, and I'm not that flahoolic with the public purse, but I actually think in this instance I would agree for frontline healthcare workers to get this bonus. I do believe their work was heroic. I really, really do. I think we have to remember what it was like in wave one. When you think of it, it's a bit like those firefighters that ran into the World Trade Center during 9/11 when everyone else was fleeing. We had healthcare workers on the front line with no PPE or inadequate PPE, cleaning up secretions of COVID patients. When we thought the mortality rate was about 10% of COVID patients in ICUs, they were heroic. I don't mind them being rewarded. What stands out to me more, and even in terms of the cost, because we've already blown huge amounts of hundreds of millions on some of them wasted things like PPE that didn't work, ventilators that didn't work, all of that. So there has been wastage in this, and I don't mind us spending money on this. What jumped out at me more than the fear of the 377 million that we might spend on healthcare workers getting sort of 10 days off was government fears other public sector groups will seek similar compensation. Two things. There is no comparison between a nurse in ICU and somebody in the Department of Social Justice or something sitting at home in their pajamas on Zoom. There is no comparison between those two.
I don't think anyone's suggesting that people stayed at home on Zoom which should get a bonus
if all public sectors are getting a pandemic bonus, I first of all think that's ridiculous. It's going to cost a fortune and it's not warranted. But also it's an insult to the people that really did put their lives on the line in the beginning of this pandemic. They deserve some kind of recognition, but throwing one in for everyone in the audience actually dilutes the fact that they did something heroic. And I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, the other group I could see having a claim, for example, bus drivers, for example, who, would have been exposed to people getting
Still
on buses.
Still not the same, Shane.
Probably not. Look, I would be hugely sympathetic, and I agree with you in large part about that they were heroic and they do need some kind of bonus. But 377 million is a ginormous amount of money. Like, the government will have about $1 billion to spend in this year's budget. Now, this is a once-off payment, to be fair. But even still, that is a huge chunk of money, and that has to come from somewhere else. Let's not airbrush this. It has to come from services elsewhere.
I'm not a doom and gloom pandemic person, as you know, but supposing we do have another pandemic in 2 years' time and we don't reward these people, can we really ask them to do the same thing again? Bonuses have been paid to healthcare workers in the UK. Bonuses have been paid to healthcare workers.
I'm not sure it's quite
France.
10 days annual leave, though.
It's a sum of money. It's a bit different. All I am saying is I think
10 days annual
that
leave is
specific
huge.
group deserve recognition and reward above the hand clap and the round of applause at the front door.